second half of this video is talking about warmth. And I am right next to my fireplace because that's the first and easiest thing for me to show you. So this is our wood burning fireplace, and we were very intentional about purchasing a home with a wood burning fireplace. So if you're in the market for a new home in the future, do consider getting a home that is older and has a wood burning fireplace, or a home where you can install a wood burning stove. Because this is honestly one of the safest, most straightforward ways to heat our home. So if we, for an extended time, did not have heat or electricity in our home, we would take our stockpile of wood and we would try to all huddle in the living room here. We would insulate the windows better to try and keep all the heat in, and we would simply stay warm near the fire. And it wouldn't make our entire house warm because we have, a basement and an upstairs too, but we could sleep in the living room. We could do most of our activities in the living room and hold out until things are back to normal. And of course, you need to have a good supply of wood if this is going to be your primary backup solution. So I would look at a couple options. One thing we did is we saved our tree prunings, and we have like a few decent sized branches that will be good for kindling or mid-sized pieces of wood, and we are letting those dry out and season for a year before we burn them, because you don't want to burn green wood. You want them to be well seasoned or dried out. So we're doing that, and you can also go to Crown Land and chop down your own tree. So if you have the resources to do that, or a friend with a truck or whatever, that is a low cost option. But again, you're chopping up that wood and you're seasoning it for the following winter, so a year from now. And another option, of course, is just to purchase wood. And quite frankly, we've done that for this winter. Our supply of wood was getting low again, so we have just purchased wood that's good to burn indoors. We picked birch because it's a clean wood for burning in indoor fireplaces. It came in various sizes. We picked a quarter cord. You can buy a full cord, and it's about $1,000 in Canadian dollars right now where we are. And of course, you'll want to store it somewhere dry so it doesn't get wet, and so that it's ready to use if you ever need it. Now, of course, I know many of you are going, well, I don't have a wood stove or a wood burning fireplace, and I don't want to start a fire in my bathtub because I know that's a really bad idea. So what do I do? And there are on the market propane-based heaters that you can use indoors for short term. So one of the best brands on the market is one called the Big Buddy. There's the Big Buddy and the Little Buddy. The Big Buddy is good for a room that's about 450 square feet, and you do have a time limit with how long you can run it though. And the thing I like about the Big Buddy though is that there is an automatic shut off when it senses that it's been running for long enough or there's not enough oxygen in the air. It will shut off, which is good. But in general, you just want to know with those things that you can't run them for hours and hours on end. So you really have to read the fine print in the instructions to find out how long you can run those for. But that's a really good option because once again, you would huddle up all together in one room and you would run it for a few hours to heat up the room and then just try to insulate as much as you can to not let the heat out, okay? So that is a really good option, but just keep in mind that you have to store the propane, so you have to have propane stored, and you have to not continually run it because it will cause breathing problems if you run it for too long. This is a empty can that had freeze-dried food in it, but I like to use these cans for safely storing candles. So I will store a candle and matches together, and I actually have a whole bin of candles, and I just keep candles, like regular decorative candles, like whatever, it doesn't matter. You can also buy like special 50-hour or 40-hour burning prepper candles. You can also look on Pinterest for DIY, how to make your own long burning candles. But because I have little kids and I'm a little worried about open flames, I do like to put it into something that's more secure and isn't going to get knocked over easily. So the downside of this, of course, is it stops some of the light from coming out, but it's still a good heat source. Like, I'd have to be careful because this will warm up a bit, but you could even like put a little grill over top of this and actually cook a little bit of something over top of your candle. It would be, my first choice would be to use our barbecue or use our outdoor fire pit for cooking. But if I absolutely had to, this would work, right? And it's just a nice way to keep the flames more contained if you're worried about little kids, but still have like something that you can put your hands over and warm up, okay? This is actually makes a great car kit too. Like put this in a can with your matches and maybe a few granola bars, and then you have like a little car warmth kit too. If you have nothing to heat your home, have lots of blankets, have warm clothes. You'll be okay. You will be. If you can't run the heat for a little bit, even if it's really cold outside, you're gonna be outside of the wind chill. You can focus on insulating windows and making sure those drafts stay out, and you can bundle up and be okay. Now let's talk a little bit about lighting. It's very simple to get flashlights and batteries. You probably already have flashlights and batteries. Think about things like solar flashlights or solar lights. There's even lights that inflate, and when you're not using them, you can just squish them down small so they're easy to store. Another good one to consider when it comes to for lighting and for communication is a crank radio. And a lot of these crank radios are dual crank and solar powered radios, and they have a light on one end of them. So a radio like that is really useful to have so you can hear news updates. Another thing you want to consider is how to charge your devices. So having a solar charger for your cell phone is a really nice idea, because then of course you can use your cell phone as a light and you have a natural form of communication right there too. And any of these solar powered devices, all you have to do is during the daytime when you do have light, natural light, you stick them out and let them charge, and then when the sun goes down, you have them in the evening to use.
To finish off this video, we're going to look at generators. There's gas-powered and solar generators on the market. We definitely prefer solar generators for suburban living. But what might you want to power? Well, my husband Nathan and I brainstormed a few reasons why it would be useful to have a generator. First off, for extra lighting, especially if you have to do important task work, maybe cooking in the kitchen or building something. And it's a great option for charging laptops, phones, or entertainment. And don't discount entertainment, because we want to try to keep things as normal as possible, especially for our young kids. So the ability to watch a movie on a laptop or play with their Nintendo Switch might actually be a huge sanity saver. Another thing you might need to do is run tools like a drill, especially if you need to fix something or build something. You may want to power an electric blanket or a small heater just to stay warm. You may need to power a small kitchen appliance, or a big one for me would be keeping my deep freeze cold, or possibly your fridge. I think for most of my fridge items, if it was wintertime, I would stick them outside in a cooler bin, but it'd be really great to not have to worry about all the meat in my deep freeze going bad and having a way to keep that powered. So why do we recommend solar over gas generators for suburban living? Well, first off, they're smaller than traditional generators, so they're not going to take up nearly as much space. They're going to be easier to store, and you can store them inside your home, which is going to protect them from getting stolen. Another big thing, especially for me as a mom wanting to keep things safe for my kids, is there's no fire hazards with storing fuel, and there's no hazardous fumes when you run it. So with gas generators, you have to run them outside, and you got to make sure that you aren't breathing in the fumes, and you got to be careful about storing the fuel. So I just like not having to worry about any of those things. Another big consideration is the fact that solar generators charge silently. A gas generator is very noisy when it's running, and your neighbors are definitely going to hear it, which might annoy them. And also, if you're trying to be discreet and not draw attention to yourself, well, you're not going to want to run a gas generator. It could really draw unwanted attention, especially if there's, roving gangs or something with a total breakdown of society happening. Another thing with the solar generators is they're relatively low maintenance, and you're not going to have breakdowns or issues the way you might have with a gas generator. So my husband Nathan did quite a bit of research when looking at different solar generators, and these were his main considerations when looking at different brands. First off, how long has the company been around? Can you rely on it to still be around, or is it a brand new company that you don't know very much about? And are items in stock? Are they going to be able to be delivered to you? And what's the likelihood of getting customer support if you need a replacement piece or you have questions? Is the generator powerful enough to meet your needs? So he researched how much power would it take to run a fridge or run a freezer. Is the level of power enough? And how long is it going to take to power? Is it realistic? And how durable is it? Is it made of materials that are going to last, that can take a few bumps? Is it easy to carry? Does it have a durable handle? And he also wanted one that had multiple ways to charge. Some of them you can also power with AC or through a car adapter. So this is really useful if you know there's a storm coming that could cause a power outage. You can charge your solar generator in advance and have it ready to go. So we really liked that option. And then, do solar panels come with it? Some solar generators, they just have the battery, and then you have to research and get the solar panels separate. So we wanted kind of a one package, all included deal. So the brand that we went for is the Jackery. Their top power one is out of stock right now, so we went with the one down from there. And the one we got, it'll take about 4 hours to get to full charge sitting out in the sun. We have ordered this one, and we are definitely going to do a video showing it to you when it comes. It definitely is an investment though. We spent about $3,000 to get it, and it was not something that we just on a whim decided to get, obviously. And this was something that we'd been looking at and considering for quite a while. My husband also researched the cost of doing solar panels on the roof, but that was totally not feasible for us for multiple reasons. So this is a nice alternative, having this portable solar generator that will help us just power really important things like the freezer or some technology. And it was feasible for us to save up for and purchase.
Start a bin. Either do some decluttering and use a bin you already got, or just get a bin. It doesn't have to be a fancy Rubbermaid one like this. It can be a simpler dollar store clear bin, okay? Just get a bin. And you are going to put the things you already have, candles, matches, flashlights, if you have a little portable water filter, you might not be able to fit your blankets into the bin, but maybe just have the blankets nearby the bin, and anything you need for a blackout situation. And then what you can do is you're going to get a piece of paper and you're going to write all the things that you already have in the bin on the paper. And the other thing you're going to do is you're going to write a little wish list for yourself of things that you want to add to the bin, okay? And this is something you might want to, talk about your budget with your partner, if that's relevant to your family situation. But make sure you write down what you already have and you tape it to the bin, and then either on the same piece of paper or somewhere else where you can discuss it, write down the things that you want to get.